oil. That's it? Okay, yeah. So, and you're interested because you have family members who are thinking about or who are using it, and just maybe want to get some more information for all age groups. Okay. How this started for me really quickly is when I had the Airstream and I had the big idea to come home to Greenville so I could be home. And I pulled the Airstream up. You know, one of the first people who came to see me ever was Mark. And it was when I was parked over by the interstate that I was approached by a CBD oil company who said you could sell this, it's legal in all 50 states. And I got really excited about it. And they emailed me all of their information. And it was legal in all 50 states, legal in all 50 states, over and over and over again. So I took all that information and I thought, hang on a second, if it's legal in all 50 states and it's so great, why isn't anybody else selling it at all? So I took all that information to the sheriff at the time, the head of the drug task force at the time, and the district attorney. And they sat in the office and told me under no uncertain terms was it legal in the state of Alabama, and if I was to try to sell it, they would either confiscate the stuff, the CBD oil, and or take me to jail. And I may or may not win a lawsuit, but was that a fight I was willing to fight? And it wasn't. So I waited, you guys, it was over a year. In that time, I did all this research because I would see people on Facebook going, legal in all 50 states, buy it. And I was like, it's not legal. Oh my God, what are you doing? You're going to hurt, you know. But I took the time and did the research. So, now it is legal in the state of Alabama, but I'm going to tell you that's can be tenuous right now. The legislature has a lot to say about that, and they haven't voted on anything yet. Also, with policy, the only person who says it's absolutely legal in the state of Alabama is the Attorney General, Steve Marshall, who came out with a notice on CBD in December of 2018 that said, yes, it's legal to possess or sell only the oil. So you guys are seeing probably gummies for sale and vape material for sale. That is technically still not legal in the state of Alabama, only the oil itself. And I'm going to show you some oil in a second. I know you guys have all seen it probably. So now where we're at legally is the local DA is waiting to see what the state says about it. Most local law enforcement in the state of Alabama is waiting to see what happens with the governor's office, the FDA, the Agriculture Department, and the legislature. There's a couple of bills that are being introduced now, and we're way past CBD. These are medical marijuana bills that will be introduced into the Alabama legislature. One is written by the same man who wrote Carly's Law, which is why we have CBD in Alabama, the testing that allowed UAB doctors to do the testing, okay?
And I have a question.
Yeah.
So, but just because it's legal in Alabama to possess the oil, if you go to your job and they test you.
Yeah, we'll come on.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and we're going to talk about drug testing. That was another thing that got me really upset, you guys. People would say, it won't show up on a drug test. It won't show up on a drug test. And that is an absolute lie. It can show up on a drug test very easily. And that really upset me because I knew people were going to get fired or something. And people would go, wait a minute. There were several cases in Tennessee where that happened while it was still illegal here in Alabama. So I knew to start warning people about it. So I've been trying to educate people. I've been talking to groups, hoping to bring this to law enforcement agencies. Everybody's got to get on the same page. So here we go. The first thing I've listed on my CBD facts is, can CBD cause you to fail a drug test? And yes, and here's why. It only has 0.3% THC in it if you're getting full spectrum CBD oil. That can be metabolized through the liver, And if it's not metabolized quickly enough, it can show up on a drug test, and that's plain and simple. So I carry, and I'm going to show you the difference between the CBD with THC and the CBD without it. I carry a CBD oil with no THC. So this will not show up on a drug test. It doesn't work as well. Full spectrum works better. Okay, it's less expensive in this size bottle, but to tell you the truth, it would be about the same price if I had it in the larger bottle. And then this is the CBD oil that has 0.3%, less than 0.3% THC in it, and we find this works a whole lot better because the THC and the CBD are always going to work better together. Okay, so let me give you a quick little overview. Pine trees. How many kinds of pine trees are there? Like longleaf. Yeah, there's lots of pine trees, right? Same thing with cannabis. So we've been using all these words wrong forever because of bad movies and our cousin who smokes pot or whatever uses all the words the wrong way. Cannabis is a big umbrella term for this type of plant. Marijuana is a kind of cannabis. Hemp is also a kind of cannabis, but they're different plants. The hemp plant is taller and skinnier, the marijuana plant is shorter and fatter, and through the years, they developed marijuana in a way that had low CBD in it, because it's the CBD that keeps you from getting high. So they would lower, so they wanted the high THC and the low CBD so you could have strains of marijuana that would get you really high. So what we know about CBD is when God made the marijuana plant, they were equal and they worked together equally. Okay. We know from studies that if someone is having a psychotic episode from too much THC, and that can happen especially in younger people, or from synthetic marijuana, or from schizophrenia, CBD can stop a psychotic episode in its tracks by balancing out the system immediately, your endocannabinoid system, which is already in your body. Your body's already ready to receive this stuff. And so we have receptors in our bodies, and CBD can help. They don't actually feel the receptors like THC does, but they actually balance them out. So that's one thing that law enforcement doesn't know. CBD could help them, or first responders. It could actually help them quite a bit. So that's the difference in the plant. A lot of people think it's marijuana. It ain't marijuana. Now, when you grow it, it looks just like marijuana. I mean, the leaves look alike, and all of that stuff. So law enforcement's going to have a heck of a time with this when we start growing. I have talked to 4 people who have been approved by the state of Alabama in the pilot program. So Wilcox County, Lowndes County, and Eufaula. I don't know what county Eufaula is, but over in Eufaula as well. Barber? Okay, so, and those people have a class they have to take in April 4th and 5th to find out. They don't know anything, and that's why they're calling me. They're like, do you know what seed we can use? So, there's a lot of lag going on in the state of Alabama right now. All right, so, any questions about drug tests and failing drug tests? Okay. Is CBD safe to take with all pharmaceuticals? That's a big question everybody has, and it's absolutely not. But here's the way it works. Some pharmaceuticals are also metabolized through the liver. When CBD is introduced, it slows down your liver's ability to metabolize some of those other drugs. A good rule of thumb is this. If you're not supposed to eat grapefruit with your medicine, you probably should be very careful with the CBD and your medicine. One thing that you can do, though, is talk to your doctor, because some doctors, like rheumatologists, there's a rheumatologist in Fairhope. There's also a rheumatologist out of Auburn who is telling their patients, please go try CBD, and they're using it with their arthritis medication, okay? So that's something to think about. I have a list on here, like warfarin, really, you have to be very careful with warfarin and CBD. But I have a list here for you guys to take home if you're interested. Obviously, you never want to combine anything with chemo drugs, obviously. And I'm a big, I've been talking to people a lot about never using essential oils with chemo drugs, because some essential oils can make chemo 4 times as strong. And they're just diffusing stuff in those places, and it's absolutely terrifying. But definitely I would never suggest people using CBD with chemo unless their doctor specifically said they could. It's very, you don't want to mess with those levels, right? Are all CBD oils safe to use? No. Okay, so here's what you want to look for in a company, and I've got this written down for you too. Where's the hemp grown? You need to know that it's been grown in the United States, organically if possible. You need to know how the oil is extracted from the plant. So, the cheaper way to extract the oil from the plant is using hexane or butane. Those are solvents that can stay in the oil, and they're very dangerous. So you want to use CO2 extracted. They're also starting to use coconut oil extracted from the hemp plant itself. Be very careful. And I tell people, please do not go buy CBD oil from a gas station, or gummies from a gas station, or anything that is a supplement from a damn gas station. I'm sorry, but it's bad enough people buy stuff at Walmart or CVS or Walgreens when they know that stuff is sourced in China. This is even worse. And when they did a lot of testing with gummies, actually just recently, none of the gummies they tested had any CBD in them at all. I'm thinking they just tore open a bag of Haribo's and threw them in and charged $50. I mean, I don't know what they did, but none of the gummies had any CBD in them at all, and they were charging a lot of money. So there's the potential for being scammed, and that's because there's a lot of money involved here. This bottle retails for $73.95. Imagine if you were selling it fake and you were just putting in some kind of crappy oil, some canola oil, and some, if someone could stand to make a lot of money if they were bad people. So you have to really watch. Okay, so one of the things that is really interesting about these companies, I just want to tell you about, is I ended up not using that company that talked to me early on. And the reason why I didn't use them is I felt that they were so pushy. And the fact that the first thing they said was legal in all 50 states, when that was a lie, I knew I didn't want to do business with them. So I found 2 companies, and I'm adding a third, but let me tell you about these companies really quickly. So this company is Americana. It is made by a gentleman who I went to high school with here at Greenville High School, class of '88. And he is very serious about the quality of the oil, and he and I talk a lot, and I trust what he's doing with this oil. He lives in Colorado now, but he's very astute in this business and knows what's going on. I picked this company, Tennessee CBD, because it's grown and made in Tennessee. The first hemp actually was grown on Amy Grant's farm, and she's involved with the company. Her son is also involved with the company. And she actually gives their CBD oil to her PTSD participants in her music program. So she sells it, she's big on it, she believes in it, and it's also CO2 extracted, organically grown hemp. Okay, so I've done my research on that for sure. The other company that I'm pulling in is Charlotte's Web, and Charlotte's Web was the original CBD oil company. Made by the Stanley brothers, who were the first people who grew the hemp for Charlotte, who had epilepsy. The amazing story of why we're using CBD in the first place. Now, I had to give 3 references and go through a lengthy application process to be able to sell them, but now I'm going to be able to sell them pretty soon, and I'm just really excited about that, because they're the first company, the number 1 company. So So I did go over that gummies are illegal in Alabama still. Okay, but look, if you really want a gummy and you get pulled over, I don't think there's any policeman is going to go, oh, you're going to jail for CBD gummies, because we're in a gray area right now until the legislature and the state decide what the hard and fast rules of CBD are. So when I suggest dosing for these, I always say go half of what you think at first. I do that with my supplements too. I want you to go very light. With oil, less is more. Less is always more. With a 1,000 milligram bottle, 1 drop is 3 milligrams, and you would not want to do more than 15 milligrams in a day. So there's something to really think about, and a lot of these marketing companies are telling people to take more than that, and I'm wondering if it isn't because they're either really watered down or they're trying to get them to buy more quicker or something, because it just wastes. If you use too much, you just waste it. You don't you can never overdose or ever get high, so it's just a waste.
Goes up to your liver or your kidneys or whatever.
Yeah, so it doesn't even too much. It would just be the worst thing that could ever happen. Like if you drank a gallon of this, is make you throw up. That would be it. So when you're looking for CBD oil, one of the important things besides the way it's produced and the way it's grown is do you know how many milligrams you need? And if you get you could get 500 milligrams, you could get 750, you could get 1,000. And if you get a certain milligrams, do you know what your dosage is for that milligrams? So you have to be super, super careful, and that's why I tell people to go very, very light with it. I tell people with this, 2 drops under the tongue before bed, and then during the day you could do a couple of drops under the tongue. I mean like drop, like that's it. I use only 2 drops under the tongue at night before bed, and I sleep so good.
How many milligrams is that?
1,000. This is 1,000, yeah. And I want to show you really quickly the pet CBD. So this is 500 milligrams, and my cat's on it. And he's been not screaming in the middle of the night like he does, that 2 o'clock screaming. And then he gets me up at 4:30, but now he doesn't do it by screaming in my face. Now he does it by, just walking on my face. But this is, I have been reading studies on this. It's great for pets with anxiety, pets with hip dysplasia, arthritis, and with this bottle, they give a suggested dosage based on weight, and I've even been telling people to go half on that too. It lasts longer that way, and it's as effective. So I just tell people to be very careful about it. So the reasons why that there can be a drug issue, and I always, and I should have said this at the beginning, no matter what is in the store, I always tell people to talk to your doctor first, because I'm not a healthcare provider, and your doctor should be the one that you're consulting with, especially if you're already taking pharmaceutical medications. Always, because they know what what dosages they're giving you. When you say I'm on a benzo, I don't know your dosage, and I don't need to be involved in that decision making. That's between you and your doctor. Okay, so now do y'all have any questions about CBD?
Are there any side effects?
From what I've read, if overuse can cause you to throw up, that would take a lot. And being sleepier, which is why people use it.
So does it make you sleepy? I mean,
it has me, and I can't say it would do it for everybody, but it definitely has a calming effect. What people are using it for these days is any kind of inflammation pain or chronic pain, and anxiety, stress. It helps with sleep, that sort of a thing. If I could I'm going to just step and get this book, because I want to read y'all something really quick. I'll hurry.
That's why.
There's a physician who has come out with a book. It's Dr. Gregory Smith, and one of the most amazing things, and now I'm going to lose it. Now I'm going to lose this thing he says about fibromyalgia. Oh, here it is. So he has a couple of chapters on all different things: arthritis, fibromyalgia, epilepsy. But when he wrote this, it really hit a chord with me. Fibromyalgia may be due to a deficiency in the amount of naturally occurring cannabinoids in our brain. So the goal of treating fibromyalgia then is to increase the cannabinoid tone in the brain. So he is suggesting that the cure for fibromyalgia is actually CBD, which is amazing. And I'd like to have somebody with dealing with fibromyalgia and their doctor come talk to me about it.
Can you read it?
I'm sorry?
You have a question on the live.
Oh,
You
yeah,
want me to read it?
yeah.
A lady is asking, is it consumed orally, not topically, or perhaps vaped?
Okay, so all three of those can happen. You can do topically with a salve. I have actually decided not to carry the salve yet until I get some feedback from the state on that. But one of the things I've told people to do is take a little oil and rub it on it if you have a spot. And I'll just tell you from personal experience, I have a family member who has psoriasis, and she takes a little bit of oil and she rubs it on, and her psoriasis is gone. But that's just, I don't have any studies on that yet. Vaping, I don't suggest at all. Of course, vaping anything gets it in your system faster, but I'm not a fan of vaping, ever. And so, also the state would consider vaping materials not legal yet. However, there is a bill being introduced, and I just read the bill this morning, that they've had it with the vaping shops. They really have. And so what one of the proposed law will be is that if you have a vaping shop, you're going to have to get the licensing of selling tobacco. And then anything that's vaped, even if it's not tobacco-based, will be under the rules of tobacco sales, which means you'll have to be, how old do you have to be in that?
19.
19 to be able to buy it, that sort of a thing. And so, you'll be able to buy it at a vaping shop, but I just don't, they would have to really prove to me their source and the way they make vaping. You can't vape this, okay? So the way they make vaping oil, I don't trust at all. And so I just rather, and also with gummies, you don't know what dosage you're getting. So I would rather be, if you're gonna spend this much money, be exact in your dosing. This bottle will last me 2.5 months, easy. Because I only use a couple of drops. I use, sorry guys, I use it for period cramps too. Yeah. Any other questions on that?
No,
Do you
not
guys
yet.
have any other?
So have you tried the other without the THC? 'Cause
I have
that
not.
Really, even I've gone into my HR lady and said, our company's based in California, so they, our HR people are, it's a little bit different. But she's like, oh, no big deal, it's not. But I really haven't seen anything in writing that says that if they drug test us and THC, it's
Yeah.
because you can't tell the difference in
Not
whether
yet.
it's marijuana or not, right?
Not yet, because the drug tests aren't as.
Only test for that. It's not
Yeah.
precise enough,
Yeah,
right?
it's not precise enough yet for that. And that's gonna be, if anybody wants to start a company that does that, you're
That's
about to
gonna
make
be
$1 billion.
awesome.
But, right.
Yeah.
But, I would be really careful with that. And I have not, but.
You haven't tried that one?
I have not, but you know what? I have repeat buyers, and Eve,
Christina. I go by Christina. It's okay.
Christina has tried it.
My
and-
husband tried it actually, and he said it worked.
Well, and see, my husband, he would never take that other because of the drug testing thing.
Right, right.
But he can't sleep at night, so.
So I have a couple of guys who work for Aladot who come and get this, and they like it. And they have a CDL license, so they absolutely cannot
Yeah.
take
That's
that
why
chance.
my husband went with
Right.
the THC free.
Yeah.
Yeah, my husband has.
So that's an option. And I just really love that the companies that I've found are really about helping people. They're about, they're not marketed online. They, retailers have to sell them. And I don't mind, I actually don't mind a couple of the multi-level marketing companies. I think HempWorks is a good company. I think they're legit. They do the testing. They do, third-party testing. And by the way, I do want to say this, no matter where you buy an oil, demand for their you want a copy of their third-party testing, and if they can't offer that to you, do not buy that oil. Because every legit company offers, I give a sheet of paper that has the third-party testing on all of these, so you can see it was tested by another company, what's in it, how it's been, each batch is third-party tested, so you know what's in it. And that's something that the companies know they have to do, because otherwise it's not regulated. Regulation's coming. It will come. It just depends on, you know, it's gonna be different in every state, and it depends on what the FDA says, and it depends, you know, on how legit these companies are, and how informed we are, and how hard I work to make sure I'm selling a good product, you know. And unfortunately, they should also be doing regulations on the fake stuff that's sold at other stores, like that fake aloe vera juice they were selling to people. But they didn't, you know, the FDA didn't come down on them. They just took it off the shelves. So, you know, there's also nobody standing outside with a poster going, regulate, you know, aloe vera juice, where people are a little freaked out about CBD because they still have they're ignorant about it, and they think it's marijuana. And it has not, it's not. So, yeah. Any other questions about it? No, it's okay, come on in. Do you guys have any other questions?
And to
or?
speak to the sleep part, that's why I use it.
Mhm.
I can't shut my brain down at night, so it takes me like 30-45 minutes to go to sleep, as a usual. And so somebody was asking, does it make you sleepy? I don't feel like it makes me sleepy, but I feel like it makes me so relaxed that my body's tired, and so I go to sleep. And the reason I say that is because I've worn my Fitbit to bed before, and it usually the average is you were restless 6 times less or whatever. The first time I took CBD, I wore my Fitbit. It said I was restless 1 time for approximately 3 minutes. I slept. I felt so rested when I woke up.
Wow.
I don't feel like I've ever slept that hard, but I think it's the first time my body fully relaxed
Yeah.
and allowed me to do that.
That's amazing, yeah.
I'm the guy that gets up in the middle of the night and writes myself notes of things I wake up thinking I need to remember to do the next day.
Yeah.
And it shuts that down. No, the next day I felt wonderful. I wasn't sleepy. I wasn't hungover. You know, that's what I was worried about. I'd feel groggy and drugged.
Yeah.
It's not like that.
No, it doesn't. And so I've been selling it since January, and I am getting repeat people back buying more, and I've heard stories that are just amazing. I can't make health claims about it because of, you know, I'm not a healthcare provider, and you can't make health claims. A supplement company can't make health claims. But just from personal experience, the people who are coming back in are very pleased, and I feel like as long as we stay on top of it, we stay educated, and we know what we're doing, and I get the word out, you know, that you can use this, but you know, it's the real deal. Let's be responsible about it. And also, you know, when you guys are out and about, you've read a little bit of this stuff, you know, and somebody says something, help them, you know, tell them, this isn't marijuana. I went to a seminar, you know, you don't know what you're talking about or whatever. So my hope is to be able to start doing this for law enforcement agencies in the state, partly because there are people in other police departments, actually, not here in Greenville, who have said, oh, I'd arrest you if you sell it. It's like, you know, let's get them educated too, so we're all on the same page about it, and definitely with doctors. And doctors are going to seminars now. There are some seminars available for doctors on this stuff, so that is great that they're because so many patients are asking about it that they have decided they need to get educated on it too. So that's good. Any other questions? Okay, so really quickly, I'm going to do a special where if you want any, I did a little video on this before. So I'm taking 25% off if you want any. It's, you know, no big deal. But so that would mean instead of $73.95, this would be $55.46. Instead of $32.95, this would be $24.71. And it's the pet stuff, instead of $52.95, it'd be $39.71, just for y'all coming. I just really appreciate y'all coming out, and I have some free information for you too. Awesome. Well, thank you. Yeah.